I do like, just as a philosophical thing, that we exist for these laboratories of democracy. Each state kind of gets to do their own thing. But what's fun is when the federal government tries to intervene and these different courts block the states from doing different things, and the way different states are reacting to different election threats, I think, is telling. So last month, the Alabama Secretary of State, Wes Allen, announced that he'd begun inactivating the voter registrations of over 3,000 people who'd previously been issued non-citizen ID numbers. So on the one hand, it kind of makes sense, like, hey, if you're a non-citizen, you probably shouldn't be registered to vote. So he starts, deactivating it. Well, guess who decided to step in?
The Biden administration.
The Department of Justice.
Yeah.
Because the federal law says you have to do that 90 days outside of a federal election. They started doing it 84 days outside of a federal election. And I think what's interesting is their quote is, "The right to vote is one of the most sacred rights in our democracy. As election day approaches, it's critical that Alabama redress voter confusion, resulting in this list maintenance mailings." But if you're
What's the confusion?
Right. Well, so in the analysis, they did find a couple of people they claimed to potentially not be non-citizens. And so this is the tension. This is why.
But why do they I don't understand why they have a non-citizen number if they are a citizen. It's just a clerical error?
I mean, potentially, right?
Okay.
But the point would be is that you found thousands of people that were on the voter rolls that were issued a non-citizen number. And that's one of, I think, the larger threats that we face in this country. Trump in 2016 claimed millions of non-citizens cast ballots, and that was based on some academic studies. And I know that you've done some research into this. And the reality is we don't have fewer illegal immigrants in this country than we did 4 years ago.
Right.
There are massive political get-out-the-vote operations, some of which are actually being conducted by the same federal government that let the people into the country. So I don't think it's a stretch to imagine that we might see an influx of people casting ballots who otherwise shouldn't be doing so legally, especially when some of the safeguards have been removed.